When you're out and about, do you hear music drifting your way? From the store's Muzak to your personal playlist, music is different for everyone. For me, and for you. Music reminds us of memories and feelings from our past. Sometimes it reminds us of who we were and who we are today. And sometimes it reminds us of who we're meant to be. I'm a writer, and these are my music memories. This week's song is Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. This song simply screams the 80s to me. Not because the song is filled with the glam or the hair of the bands popular in the 80s, just that it actually reminds me of technology that's pretty much on its way out in the 80s. This song and most of Billy Joel's catalog of music reminds me of the 45 records that I had when I was a kid. You see, back then, records came in two sizes, 33 and a third and 45s. The 33 and a thirds were reserved for full albums. The entire album could fit onto two sides of one of those records. I never actually owned one of those records until the mid-2000s when I got my hands on a collector's edition of the game BioShock 2. You see, special editions of that game came out with a few extras. I mean, it was priced accordingly, of course, in the area of around $100 back then, but in it, you got the game for the 360, you got posters reflecting the Art Deco theme of the video game, and you got a full-sized record of the soundtrack. At that time, records were largely extinct. Nowadays, they've garnered the favor of music collectors and audiophiles who claim the records simply sound better. Now, I personally don't know about that. I mean, I can't tell the difference except for the lack of the small occasional scratchy sound or clicks when playing records. Digital music, whether it be a CD or an MP3, doesn't have that. But the music still sounds good. I've never actually played the only record that I currently own in a record player. I just haven't had the space or the need for a physical record collection. But when I was a kid, I had a portable 45 record player. I must have gotten it from my mom when I was a kid as she was trying to instill in me a love of music. Well, and obviously it worked. I had started a very modest record collection filled with only 45 records. Oh, right. The term 33 and a third was the speed you would set your record player at in order to hear it properly. If you tried to hear a full album on the 45 RPM setting, it would sound like the Chipmunks on acid. So all my records were played on the correct setting. Although between you and me, I did play some of the Batman talking books that I had on the 33 and one-third setting, just to get Batman and the Joker to sound more scary. One of those records I had was Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. Side A on the records was always the hit song. The B-side on that album was a song called Careless Talk, which I have no memory of ever hearing. I mean, that side was always the song that was just a throwaway, the one that wasn't so popular. Kind of like the cassette single that would make an appearance in the late 80s. I mean, it wasn't the first time that I'd heard any Billy Joel, as my mom had a collection of his records, ranging from Glass Houses to We Didn't Start the Fire. I heard it all when I was a kid. So, of course, I was driven to build a collection of songs that I really liked, and 45 record singles were the cheapest way to go. I don't remember having that big a collection, as space was an issue, even back then. The other problem was that records were fragile. Now, it wasn't as big a problem for the 45s as it was for the 33 and a third sizes, but I still worried. I know that they did make carrying cases for records of both sizes, but I was too young and too poor to get my hands on one of those. My mom actually had her entire collection in two huge bookshelves. The other problems that I think about nowadays is that smaller records were packaged in simple paper envelopes, nothing else. Their older brothers had cardboard sleeves with spines and art and everything. When I looked at my mom's huge record collection on the bookshelf, I could actually read the titles of the albums. I was forced to physically flip through my entire collection to find the one song I wanted to listen to. And this seems to be a serious issue in these days of digital media. With my phone holding my entire music collection, I'm not going to include any old tapes scattered in my basement. I don't have the option to flip through songs or albums. Well, yes, you can swipe through a song after song, but really? It's just not the same thing as holding the record and making up your mind. Comics are another collection that has the same problem. With so many people reading digital comics, the actual act of flipping through newsprint comic books doesn't even exist anymore. I don't even think comics are actually printed on newsprint anymore. They use computers now to colorize them, and they look spectacular. But back then, you missed the little muddled colors when it's printed on newsprint. Even the hardcore comics people who board and bag their collections can physically flip through their comics. Their collection has a tactile feel to it, something that the young collectors just don't get to do. Netflix is also another one guilty of that issue. They have so much TV and movies, it gets daunting trying to find something new to watch. And I'm one of those people who don't really like having things suggested to me all the time. I like to find the hidden gems, things that I don't think people know about, like Tripping the Rift, a funny show that I think flew under everyone's radar. So I absolutely hate it when Netflix tells me what I should watch. I mean, Fuller House? Really? What in my entire viewing history ever gave you the idea that Fuller House would be right up my alley? Just because I'm old enough to have watched the original series doesn't mean that I want to watch some kind of sequel or remake or whatever it turned out to be. I didn't watch it. I still can't flip through their movie collection well or quickly. Now, I understand that most people probably aren't collectors like me. I mean, the world would need to build cheaper houses, much bigger, if they wanted everyone to be able to flip through their collections. I don't want a big house. It requires too much walking and cleaning. But I do like having physical collections. But in today's world, the digital mainstream has made it taboo to have rooms dedicated to record or comic book collections. So I've been regulated into having digital collections. It is far more convenient and definitely saves me space, but part of me misses the fear attached to handling my records. The fear that a scratch could destroy a song, that buttery fingers could destroy X-Men 207. That fear helped me keep my stuff safe and helped me take care of my stuff more when I was a kid. People today don't have that fear, and they should. Maybe it would save them from buying a new phone every year. When the needle broke on my small portable record player, I learned. Better take care of my stuff. Because now I have to get rid of my 45 collections because there was no way I was going to tell my mom that I'd broken it. So I let her believe that I simply, lost interest in my record player and the records that went with it. I was able to trade my small 45 record collection to a friend of mine for a nice stack of Batman comics. I learned a common lesson in the 80s, that when something changes, move into something else. And don't complain and whine about it, because then your mom will start asking questions. I never wanted that. Enjoy the past, but don't fight the progress that is your life. Thanks for listening to a story that fell out of my head. Did you have any collections? Are you crazy like me? If you had some, please let me know about them in the comments below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.